We propose a system to purify and utilize all types of wastewater. To this end, let's categorize various types of water into classes. Cooking wastewater will be classified as Class 0, bath and shower wastewater as Class 1, and toilet wastewater as Class 2. Each class will be treated under the premise of not mixing. In reality, they will all become distilled water, but we will treat them separately, considering psychological aspects as well. Since it does not pollute the surroundings, it is an environmentally friendly system. The sewage from the sewage treatment plant in Taizhou, China, was purified using the small device blue box, shown in the left picture, removing all components. The left PET bottle contains raw water from the sewage treatment plant, while the right contains distilled water after treatment. Class 0 is the cooking drainage, which contains food scraps and bones. We separate this solid waste, and the solids are processed in a waste disposal machine and effectively utilized as fertilizer and other uses. The liquid portion is treated later using the Yabe-type purification device, resulting in distilled water. At this stage, the substances contained in the wastewater become solid and are sent for processing in the waste disposal machine. In the next, Class 1 is bathtub and shower drainage. This drainage mainly contains detergents and shampoos, which will be distilled, and the components of the detergent contained in the water will be collected in solid form. The handling of this solid is a matter for future consideration, but in the worst case, it may have to be mixed with soil and disposed. Class 2 is toilet drainage and is the most troublesome part. First, it is stored in a septic tank and decomposed by microorganisms. High-speed processing devices have also been developed for this purpose. Solid components are converted into fertilizer here, while water containing ammonia and other substances undergoes treatment, and is reused as distilled water through the Yabe-type purification system. The boiling point of ammonia is -33.4 degrees, but it does not evaporate until the water evaporates, even at high temperatures when dissolved in water. This is known as azeotropy, and it has been said that it cannot be separated by evaporation and condensation. Yabe demonstrated that this is possible. By using a propeller to create fine water droplets from the toilet water containing ammonia at room temperature and forcing it to evaporate, he discovered that only ammonia selectively evaporates. The evaporated ammonia gas, when passed through citric acid, transforms into a food additive called sodium citrate. The solidified form is easy to handle. Similarly, the boiling point of hydrogen sulfide is -60.7 degrees, so the same process as ammonia can be used. The evaporated hydrogen sulfide reacts with iron oxide to form iron sulfide, which can be recovered as sulfur, so this can also be recovered as a solid. Since iron oxide does not get used up, it can be reused repeatedly. Classified drainage is consolidated from many households per class for treatment. A purification system with a daily capacity of 10 tons can process wastewater from 50 households. The distilled water processed at once from the 50 households is stored in a tank and distributed to each household. Now, let's briefly explain the Yabe-type purification device. It utilizes the phenomenon of evaporation that occurs at atmospheric pressure, similar to the steam coming from a coffee cup, which evaporates even at low temperatures. We have experienced that sweat can dry at 30 degrees through evaporation. However, we know that this evaporation process is very slow. To increase the speed, it is important to generate very fine particles to increase the surface area. In our device, the wastewater is finely broken down by rotating propellers, creating tiny water droplets that increase the surface area of water and accelerate evaporation. Yabe discovered that circulating pure water recovers heat. In the evaporation area at the bottom of the figure, warm seawater, shown in brown, enters this area, splashing into small droplets inside the evaporator and cooling down through latent heat of evaporation. The generated high-temperature steam enters from the left, releasing energy during condensation and heats the circulating water indicated by the green arrows. In this way, latent heat is stored in the pure water. The seawater exiting from the last evaporation chamber on the right side of the lower evaporation chamber exchanges heat with the circulating pure water shown in green and gets heated. As a result, the seawater gains the latent heat of condensation in heat recovery. However, there are concerns about heat loss, and that loss must be compensated by some heat source. This system functions economically utilizing solar heat and hot water storage even at night. The Zero Waste Desalination Device ZWD consists of four main technologies. It evaporates at low temperatures 20 to 70 degrees Celsius and atmospheric pressure. It does not use membranes. Salts and other substances can also be recovered as solids. Therefore, it can be used even with seawater at 20% salinity. It has a super multi-stage structure in a single stage unit. Since it reuses latent heat, it hardly consumes energy. It operates solely on solar heat and is usable even at night.